Hey there everybody, my name is Ethan. I'm going to be walking you through a brief video training of our pro presenter position. If this is your first time watching, I want to welcome and thank you for being a part of the DC3 Pro team. And if you're looking for specific parts of the video for troubleshooting or a specific direction, you can scroll down to the description underneath this video for a specific time that you can find and go right to that part. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the next thing I want to show you guys is when we navigate to a song, because obviously lyrics are a big part. So I'm going to go ahead and close the video image bin there. Songs are a big part of what we're doing here at DC3. We have a great worship team, great worship time. We want to make sure that our lyrics are being displayed properly so that people can follow along. Both seasoned believers and maybe people who don't believe at all can engage in the worship experience. And this is what we know. If you don't know the words, you're not going to sing the song. So it's really important that when we display the lyrics that they look good, they're accurate, and that they're displayed in a timely manner. So one thing to keep in mind is when Planning Center, when we loaded in the plan earlier, it will give you a song that's preloaded, and you'll see all these colorful little breakdowns of the lyrics. So this is verse 1, so we're using River, which is a new song we're doing this Sunday. You see verse 1, verse 2, chorus 1, verse 3. So what does that all mean? If you don't have any musical background, don't sweat it. Like I said, this is something that the service director will know. So if you have questions about this, feel free to ask them to explain. I'm just going to briefly go into the song arrangements and how to get those formatted properly. And these should be set ahead of time. So for instance, say you're checking through your plan when you come in on Thursday and you're like, okay, well, I see River, but this is not what they're matching. This does not match what they're singing on the stage. So that's okay. What we want to do is navigate to over here, this little flowchart option here. When you click this, it's going to give you all the things I just said about the slide labels in these little bubbles. And so these are grayed out because this is the master. So if we click this little drop down here, you'll see it says master. And so what we want to do is click add new arrangement. And this will be typically made ahead of time, but this is just an example how to show you. So we want to call this DC3 worship. Click OK. And now you'll see the bubbles are blue. And so what this is going to allow you to do is you can drag specific parts of the song into the arrangement here. So if one of these didn't match up, say for instance that they sang verse 1, but they didn't go right into verse 2, you needed a chorus in between that, you can just take your chorus 1 and see that little blue bar that appears and drop it in. So now verse 1, chorus, verse 2. And so it'll actually make the changes down here as well. And so once you save a new arrangement, you can go back in here. So say for instance, you went back into master and you wanted to make the change. Now the changes that we made in the DC3 worship arrangement are saved. And so that's important because if the worship team makes changes to the arrangement of the song on the fly, and they're like, well, we're going to do chorus 1 twice, or we're going to remove the bridge, or something like that. You can, instead of just deleting the slides manually, you can go in and just click, okay, bridge is gone, see ya, and it just deletes it for you. And if you need to drop it back in, there you go, bridge is back. It's really simple. It's really, really effective. Saves you a lot of time. So that's pretty much it with the lyrics. The only other thing I'll say is be very, 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 very aware of how you're moving through the lyrics. So when you click these lyrics, they change. You can also use the arrow keys. You can't see it, but that's what I'm doing right here. I prefer to use the arrow keys unless I need to get to a specific spot quickly, and I'll use the mouse. So I don't accidentally click something I'm not supposed to click. When people are engaging in worship and they're singing lyrics to songs, they may not know the songs. Hopefully the songs that we're singing draw people in and they can kind of learn as they go. And this makes it even more important when we're doing lyrics to stay ahead of the congregation. Typically when you're singing a song, you're not going to be able to predict what's coming up next, but you can remember what you just read. So it's always better to stay ahead of the congregation, not to lag behind the congregation. And so my typical rule of thumb is here at the beginning of this verse, whatever comes, whatever goes, without knowing the pacing or the phrasing of the song, as soon as you hear them say whatever comes, and they start saying what for the next line of whatever goes, I move forward. There is one thing that I go forward. You are faithful. Yeah, you are go forward. Because people are going to know to sing the line that they just read, but they need to be able to read the line that's coming up if you want them to stay engaged. There is such a thing as doing it too early because people can't read that fast, so it's really trying to find a rhythm of how you're going to do it. And this is kind of hard to do once you're kind of in it and learning how to do Pro Presenter. But just imagine that you were singing the song and you didn't know the song. Where would you need to go? So the general rule of thumb is once the last two words are left, that's a good place to start. So one last thing that I'll say about elements in the actual plan is how to schedule a countdown. And so this, you don't have to do this if you're really diligent about the timing, but this makes our lives a lot easier once you get it set up properly, because it will start the countdown, the 5-minute countdown, right at 5 minutes to service. So this lets you not have to worry about it and not sit in the chair and watch the clock and try to click it, and if something happens, it's off, and it's can get a little bit of a mess. Excuse me. So if you see over here in this area, back where our weekend plans are, you'll notice this little red icon here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's actually a little calendar. So this means that there's something scheduled in that plan. So we want to go up here to the scheduler and click this. Now, if you look at this box, you'll see Race to Life Celebration, and it's 8/11/2019 at a specific time. Now, these times aren't going to change. What you're going to have to change is the date and the plan and the item. So we want to go ahead and click this little box here. You'll get a drop down. We want to navigate just like when we imported a plan to the most recent plan that's going to come up, and click In God We Trust, and that's going to change this to Select a Document. Now, go ahead and click Select a Document, and you want to navigate to whatever countdown you linked earlier. City Kaleidoscope Countdown is what we want. Go ahead and click that. So now everything's good, except this is the wrong day. The time is fine. It's 5 minutes to the first service that starts at 8:30. We want it to queue at 8:25. That's good. So now we just need to, the month is okay, we need to navigate to this, and if you've already selected the plan, you know the day. It's the 18th. So we just need to change this, and it's a little bit picky, so you have to click it a couple times. And that will highlight, and we want to change this to 8/18/2019. Hit return on your keyboard, and it'll lock it in. So now everything that you've done for this, you just need to do to the other two. So go ahead, and we're going to change this plan. See, it's being a pain. Like that. Like this. Like that. And like that. And that's done. So now your countdown will play on its own.